So this week we will continue with the a period we call it embryonic period. Okay, اللي هو يبدي من الأسبوع الثالث إلى الأسبوع الثامن. Okay, that starts from the 3rd week to the 8 weeks of development. So we have this week embryonic period. So what does it mean, embryonic period? At the same time, we can call it organogenesis. Okay, that means organs start to form in this duration. Okay, then الأورجانز الموجودة داخل جسم الجنين اللي راح تتكون تبدي بالتكون في يعني بوقت الديوريشن احنا فترة نسميها embryonic period اللي هي from the 3rd week to 8th week of development. Okay, أنا دائما أسأل embryonic development starts from dash 2 dash weeks of development. راح تقولوا لي 3rd to 8. تقولوا لي هسه شلون احنا 3rd we even do not have 3 germ layers. It just starts whenever 3 germ layers form. Okay, whenever we have ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm, the organs start to form by formation of the specialized cells, tissues, and organs. So if we define embryonic period or organogenesis, أحيانا أنا أقول embryonic period وأحيانا أرجع أقول organogenesis. فإذا قلت organogenesis أنت أوتوماتيكيا راح يجي ببالك embryonic period واللي هو بين الأسبوع الثالث إلى الأسبوع الثامن. الأسبوع الثامن يعني نقصد به إحنا نهاية الشهر الثاني من فترة الحمل. So the time when each of the 3 germ layers, look, it says that the time, the duration when each of 3 germ layers, I mean ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm, okay? All these germ layers will give rise to a number of specific tissues, means that will form number of specific tissues, okay? And these tissues consequently will form organ from the 3rd to the 8th week of development. اوكي واضحة أعتقد. تمام. نجي على عملية نسميها احنا neurulation. Okay, neurulation that is happen in the embryonic period. Okay, so the appearance of the notochord, as you remember we have mentioned about notochord, isn't it? حكينا احنا notochord الأسبوع اللي فات. And we said that the notochord will form by invagination of what kind of cells? Amphiblast cells. So the appearance of the notochord and precordial mesoderms means that the mesoderm cells يعني احنا يصير عندنا النوتوكورد يكون انه قد نشئ من قبل، تمام، وعندنا في نفس الوقت mesoderm. وجود notochord and mesoderm will induce the overlaying ectoderm to thicken. يعني راح تحفز تحفز لنا الectoderm layer to thicken and to form another plate. We call this plate neural plate. Look at here. Look at here. Right here we have notochord, just right here in the middle. Okay, and above the notochord, the neural plate, or I mean the neural tube itself, will form. How? First of all, we're gonna have neural plate. تمام؟ neural plate. شوفوا هو هذا البليت بالضبط هو راح يقع فوق ايش؟ فوق النوتوكورد. Above the notochord. زين. So whenever we have a notochord, the appearance of the notochord just appear. I mean, the notochord just appear, and we have a mesoderm. This will induce the overlaying ectoderm, means that this ectoderm layer to thicken and form a plate. We call this plate as neural plate. Then the cells of the plate means that the neural cells make up the neuroectoderm, make up a new kind of cell. We call these cells as neuroectoderm. إذا احنا شو راح نسوي؟ راح نسوي أول شيء نكتب لنا notochord plus precordial mesoderm. نسوي نفد سهم راح نكتب ectoderm thickening. إذا سهم ثاني راح يصير neural plate. Okay, then the cells of the plate make up the neuroectoderm. Their induction represents the initial events in the process of neurulation. إذا neuroectoderm is equal to neurulation. واضح؟ إذا جينا نعرف النيورولation بصورة مبسطة جدا. If you want to define neurulation in the simple way, we can say that is the process whereby the neural plate forms the neural tube. So first of all, we will have a plate. Then this plate will form the tube, which we call it neural tube. As you see, look at here. We have notochord, okay, that will induce the ectoderm to thicken, and then this one will continue to be induced, okay, and form a plate. That then this plate will form the tube itself. Okay, that will be the neural tube. Okay, so simply if we define the neurulation, we will say the process whereby the neural plate forms the neural tube. هاي تجي على شكل تعريف، فراغات، صح خطأ، اختيارات، أو ممكن أغير الكلمات، أحور، أي شيء حتى أخربطكم. اوكي، فركزوا. زين، نيجي على ويك 4. تمام، هذه تقريبا عملية نيوروليشن هي تصير في نهاية الأسبوع الثالث تقريبا، بداية الأسبوع الرابع. زين، بصورة عامة الأسبوع الرابع نجي على process نسميها embryonic folding. folding يعني شنو folding بالعربي؟ كأنه أنت تاخذ لك تخيلوها أنك ورقة بيدك طويتها سويتها بوق. يعني كنت بالشو اسمه بالمحاضرة كنت أخذ بيدي دفتر، أو أنا كنت أخذ بيها ورقة، أخذ بيدي ورقة وأطويها. تمام، هسه نشوف شلون تنطوي حتى تبقى ببالكم. زين، شنو هي embryonic folding؟ فهل هو هذا الامبريو راح ينطوي؟ نعم، راح يصير بيها انطواءات. ليش؟ هسه نشوف ليش. زين، احنا بالبداية لازم نعرف انه احنا ايش كان عندنا؟ كان عندنا trilaminar embryonic disc. So what we had at the last time when we had the 3 germ layers, we had ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm as a shape of flat trilaminar embryonic disc. Okay, but this will not stay as a flat embryonic disc because we need to have some foldings in order to form the organs. Okay, so it becomes more cylindrical embryo due to the longitudinal and transverse folding that will occur as a result of embryonic growth. Okay, so whenever we need to have a development, whenever the development indeed will start, it will just start with foldings. Okay, so we're gonna have 2 kind of foldings, longitudinal and transverse. راح يصير عندنا نوعين من الطيات. Okay, so laterally folding and transverse folding. We're gonna say longitudinal folding, and this will produce the head and the tail. Look, we say tail, but this means the end of the embryo. But as a term, we usually use tail till it will disappear for the embryo. Okay, so we can say in another way, it will create the cranium and the caudal ends of the embryo, while the transverse folding, it will be on the sides of the embryo that will produce the right and the left folds. هسه نجي شوف شلون تصير. Look, first of all, you can see that we have 3 germ layers اللي هي ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm, isn't it? And we have 2 kind of cavities, isn't it? We have the amnion and yolk sac and exocoelomic membrane, I mean exocoelomic cavity in the below. So if we just take the layers اللي هي هذه trilaminar embryonic disc, we will see there will be a folding. شوفوا الفولدينج هيك يصير بالضبط. تمام. Why? Because by this folding, I mean that by the end of this folding process, we will have a gut, a cavity, a tube. شوفوها? We call this gut as future gut or digestive tube. So this gut will form the digestive tube in the future. Okay, then in the sides we will have the lateral fold. This is the lateral folding. Okay, so while look in the tail, this is the tail fold and this is the head fold, will give us the cranial and the tail. The cranial and the caudal ends. Some structures will form. We call these structures as somites. Okay, so if we come to the end of this folding process, but this process will continue actually because we need to form tubes, we need to form tracts, we need to form the organs. So this is a continuous processing during the fourth to the end of the 8th week. So look at here at the end, we're gonna have this structure of the embryo, and it looks like we have the primitive guts right here. Okay, and we have the notochord above, and the above notochord we have the neural tube. Okay, while the future opening between the mouth and the pharynx right here, and the future anal canal. هذا الجراف مهم. Okay, let's say the figure. It's so important. I always ask from this and this. And B will D. So, since we have a folding process, we need to know that at the same time, there will be some structure forming from these tissues and organs. The cells that are specific for formation of the different kind of structures inside the embryo. Okay, so as I said before, تذكرون قلت لكم ectoderm and mesoderm and endoderm, they each will be specified to form something. أعتقد تذكروها. زين نجي هاي المحاضرة نذكر إنه derivatives of the ectoderm, the ectodermal germ layer will give rise to the organs and structures that maintain contact with the outside. Outside world. يعني أي شيء راح يخليك with contact with the outside is formed from ectoderm layer. واضح? So if I ask you anything from this one and you didn't remember it, which layer form it, just think about if you can contact with outside with it or not. If there will be a contact, so it is ectoderm layer. Like what? Like central nervous system, like peripheral nervous system, like sensory epithelium of the ear, nose, and eye, the epidermis including the hair and the nail. Okay, look, this is always contacting you with outside. Subcutaneous glands and the mammary glands, pituitary gland, and the enamel of the teeth are all formed from ectoderm. These are some samples or examples for seeing what is forming the ectoderm. Okay, so let's come to the mesoderm. The mesoderm will differentiate right here, okay, and is more complex than the two other layers. So we have a subplanchnic mesoderm and somatic mesoderm. The subplanchnic mesoderm will form the musculature and connective tissue, series of the digestive and respiratory structures. All kind of muscles usually form from subplanchnic mesoderm, and also forms heart and blood vessels. Okay, so subplanchnic mesoderm forms the muscles and connective tissues, series of the digestive and respiratory structure, and plus forms the heart and blood vessels. Okay, the second kind, somatic mesoderm, will form derms of the skin, bones, and ligaments. I think it's clear right here. So let's continue with the endoderm. So the endoderm, the derivatives of the endoderm will develop into many internal structures. From its name, endo. Look, endo, internal structures. Following the foldings of the embryo, we can see that the lining of the digestive, respiratory, and urinary system are all formed from endoderm. Look at here. These figures will show you how this folding will start and continue, and with having some organs that are not actually full functional or not completely formed, but we have the buds for forming it. Okay, so look at here. Whenever the trilaminar germ disc start to fold, we will have from outside ectoderm, from inside in the middle mesoderm, from inside endoderm. شوفوا مثل ما قلت لكم من قبل، ركزوا على الألوان راح تحفظون أو تعرفون شنو هو الأوريجين أو من اللي يكون هذا الجزء. Okay, so first of all we can see there is an ectoderm in blue color, and we will have somites. Look, we have a neural tube and neural crystals on each side. This will show you that the notochord cord is just below the neural tube. هذه أنا دائما أجيبها أشرح على neural tube. لازم تعرفوا إنك تحت neural tube there will be a notochord cord. Okay, and this is the endoderm trying to form the internal organs. So look, in each side there is a coelom forming or developing, and this will end with this one. Okay, just see how this developing. Then whenever the folding continue, we can see that there is a gut. شوفوا من الفولدنج يستمر عندنا نقدر نشوف إنه شلون هذا ال tubes والtracts والcanals are forming inside the embryo. Okay, so look at here, future gut or digestive tube and coelom in each side. Okay, and this is the lateral fold ending with having the coelom in each side, and you can see that the neural tube and what else, the notochord. So most important thing you need to know is the future gut, digestive tube and coelom. Okay, so look, the folding is continuing, still continuing and forming right here. Look, the limbs bud, the limb bud, and the gut lining endoderm. Okay, surrounded by smooth muscle and connective tissue. This is all are formed by subplanchnic mesoderm, and you can see that the peritoneal cavity that will be found inside the digestive system or the body of the embryo is trying to continue itself right here by folding process, while we can see the kidneys and gonads right here. Look, kidneys in each side formed. So also the neural tube and notochord. Okay, so the last thing is, look at here, just generally you can see that there is a real preservable, or you can see that is the appearance of the most of the organs like the kidney, digestive canals, and also the ribs right here. Okay, spinal cord is starting to form, vertebral column. Okay, and we can see the epiderms and derms. شوف مثلا هسه حاليا أنا ممكن أجيب هذه الصورة أو إني أجيب هذه. أوكي، وأسأل أشر على هذا وأسألكم يا شنو هذا الجزء، شنو هذا الاستراكشر. أوكي، اللي هو مهم ده أنا مركزة عليه، مثلا نيورال تيوب. أوكي، اللي تحته بالضبط هذا شنو هذا، تقولي نوتوكورد. مثلا أنا هنا ركزت على النيورال تيوب ونوتوكورد. تمام، زين. إذا جيت هنا شنو اللي أريد أركز عليه، مثلا future gut digestive tube. تمام، اللي أنا مركزة عليه بس ركزوا عليه. مثلا أنا هنا حاليا دا أشوف أكو سيلم دا يتكون بشكل ملحوظ. تمام، أو مثلا ما أجي أسألك شنو هذا، إنه هذا السوماتيك ميزودرم أو هذا السبلينكنيك ميزودرم، لا، الأورجنز اللي هي ضرورية the most important or you can see it. تمام، الشيء اللي دا تلاحظه بشكل ملحوظ يعني هذا اللي راح أسألك عليه، مو إنك تجي ترسمها. تمام، مثلا هذه بالأخير kidneys, spinal cord, vertebral column, epiderm, derm, اوكي. او مثلا ممكن انه اني اشر على هذا neural tube صح، واسالك what's the origin of the neural tube. او مثلا اشر على هذا مكتوب عليه notochord، اسالك what is the origin of the pointed structure. فانت لازم انت تعرف هذا notochord، ولازم تعرف انه هذا الاوريجن مالته epiblast. واضح؟ هسه دا احكيها انتوا اشروا، او انتم من تسمعون المحاضره اشروا. اوكي تمام، بما انه مسجله فانتوا ما تقدرون يعني ما يتخربط عليكم او ما يفوتكم شيء ان شاء الله. زين، ايش بقالنا؟ بقالنا هالمخطط. هذا المخطط يسهل عليكم هوايه. اوكي، the last one is week 5 and 8. خلينا نحكي على week 5 and 8 اللي يعني منطقة كلش مختصر. okay, so but just the summary of the week 5 and 8, and we will continue with how these structures, epiblast and that form mesoendoderm will form structures in the future. Okay, so first of all you need to know that week 5 and 8 till the 8 يعني the limb buds will form. okay, the limb buds will form يعني براعم الأطراف، خلينا نقول الأطراف العلوية والسفلية, the upper limbs and lower limbs will start to form. This is include since we have mesoderm صح, and we have ecto and endoderm, they will form the upper limbs and the lower limbs. okay, they will just start to form, and the embryo will first looks recognizably as a human embryo توكد in the week 8, while the head will be disproportionately large. هذا اللي نقدر نشوفه, and all major organs are in place. Why? Because we had an embryonic period, and this period is also called organogenesis. And in this period, the organs will form and they are in its place and they will continue to grow. يعني هي ما نمت بشكل كامل. يعني الامبريو في مرحلة ال 8 week ما تشوفوا إنه كل شيء بشكل كامل عنده functional organs. No, they will form but they will continue to grow. واضح؟ زين. نجي على المخطط. احنا كلنا نعرف إنه الابيبلاست are the origin for what? Is the origin for what? For ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. Okay? Ectoderm will form epiderms, اللي هو احنا قلنا any organ that will contact you with the outside. So this will include epiderms, hair, nail, glands of the skin, brain and spinal cord. شوفوا, they will contact you with outside. صح لا لا, صح هي internal organs, but they will contact you with outside. And neural crystals means that these neural crystals is sensory nerve cells. واضح? And some nerve structure. These kind of cells, they usually contribute information of the neural system or nervous system that include the brain and spinal cord also. Okay? And the pigment cells, also position of the skeleton, blood vessels, and the head and neck. Okay? While نجي احنا خلينا نخلص الecto والendo, while the endoderm that is forming the epithelial lining and glands of the digestive and respiratory tracts. طبعا هذا مثال. This is an example. We can see also that all internal organs, epithelial lining, these organs are formed by endoderm. شوية complicated اللي هو mesoderm can form different kinds of cell layers or of layers that will form structures, and these structures will form the organs. Like what? Like mesoderm can form notochord. عفوا احنا قلنا من قبل انه notochord is formed as a result of invagination of epiblast cells. تمام؟ إذن هو الأصل جده epiblast. Okay. أبوه منو؟ هو mesoderm. تذكرون احنا قلنا notochord will lay between the ectoderm and endoderm. فهنا الميزوديرم will contribute in the formation of the notochord. إذا شو راح يسوي؟ هو يقول لك إنه mesoderm can form the notochord. Okay. and can form kind of cells we call it somite cells. تمام. هذا الأسبوع الجاي إن شاء الله راح نشرحها بالتفصيل إذا الله أعطانا عمر إن شاء الله. And we're gonna have intermediate mesoderm and another kind of cells we call it lateral plate mesoderm. إذا الميزوديرم راح يكون لنا بشكل أساسي، خلينا نوتوكود على جهة somite intermediate mesoderm lateral plate mesoderm. Okay, زين. You need to know that the notochord will form the nucleus of the pulpus of intervertebral discs. Okay, and the somites اللي هو مهم تعرفوه إنه راح يكون أنواع من الخلايا أو أنواع من اللايرات اللي هي راح تكون غير شغلة. خلينا نقول مثلا somites will form sclerotom and this sclerotom will form vertebra and ribs. ما أعرف شوية راح يصير معقد بالنسبة لكم تقولون هاي شنو هاي تتكون هذه، لكن هسه نعطيكم إياها بشكل مختصر حتى الأسبوع الجاي من أجي أشرح الميزوديرم. Whenever I start to explain the mesoderm cells layers, this will be clear for you. Okay, نقدر نرجع على هذا مرة ثانية. So it forms, somites will form sclerotom cells, dermatome cells, and myotome cells. Okay, while the intermediate mesoderm that came from mesoderm will form kidneys and gonads. Okay, the last one is lateral plate mesoderm will form another two kind of cells that we call it somatic mesoderm and splanchnic mesoderm اللي حكينا عنها قبل شوية. Somatic mesoderm will form serosa derms of ventral body region and connective tissue of some structures in the body. Splanchnic mesoderm will form wall of the digestive and respiratory tract and visceral serosa, heart and blood vessels. Okay. هذا المخطط ما مسؤولين عنه شو اسمه اليوم السبت إن شاء الله كويز. عفوها مجرد إنه تحضيري للأسبوع الجاي.